What's the difference between a soul and a spirit?
So, just for namesake purposes, right? Don't get caught up in the semantics of it. But if we have universal consciousness breaks itself off into a smaller version of itself called spirit. Spirit then individualizes itself called the soul. Soul then lives out its existence in this thing called the body. So here's the analogy I give you. We have the ocean, that's universal consciousness. Okay, take a cup of water and scoop out a cup of water from the ocean. That would be the spirit, that's the water. But then I dye the color of the water red. That's the soul. We're personalizing and individualizing the spirit. And the cup was the body. Most people think that they are their body, or they think they are the red coloring. No, you are actually that big ocean up there that has changed itself into this different form. This is why we're on a journey to recognize that we were all the one thing. We were all it. You were not these other versions of it. There was no separation. This is what the ego has created. So the spirit uses the soul, which then uses the body.
Picture God as a puzzle, and we are the pieces. We have to come together as one to see the full picture. Transcending duality is realizing that God and Satan are the same entity, which is you. Man creates both his God and his devil in his own image. His God is himself at best, and his devil is himself at worst. His worst is ruled by his ego. The evil things that we have in this world today, such as murder and war, are the results of the ego. These are the actions of the body denying the soul. We constantly think in the 3D and are ruled by these 3D emotions. The ego is the biggest reason why we can't let go of these emotions. To edge God out of you, you have to allow the ego to submit. Man creates religion for control. Control is also part of the ego. This causes the illusion where people lose sight of who they truly are. We are infinite beings experiencing this temporary human experience. What some people may call God or source, I consider the universe. We are the universe experiencing itself over and over until we can let go of the things that make us human.
I'm going to treat you like I would treat myself because you are me. There's only one real consciousness that exists, and we are just the consciousness separated into trillions and trillions of entities so that it can experience itself subjectively from different perspectives. It wants to see what it's like to be human. It wants to see what it's like to be a blade of grass or even a rock. We're on a data collection mission, sending information back to the source. So when I tell people that they are God, some people get offended by that, but they don't realize what I'm saying is you have the power of the creator. As above, so below. The power of creation is already inside of you, and we do it every single day. We are also co-creators in our reality as well.
Let's say that the whole purpose of the universe is to expand consciousness. We may not even have physical bodies at all. It's just all about the expansion of awareness and self-awareness. When you're an infinite God and you could do anything, the only game that would ever make sense is to limit your abilities. It would never make sense to go the opposite direction. And you'd also want to make yourself forget any knowledge that you had of that. The real opportunity here is to learn through not didactic study, but to learn and expand awareness and consciousness, expand intelligence of the universe via experiential learning. And then as you realize more and more and raise consciousness, you then peel back those opaque layers of limitation so that they become transparent. And you would create a game, spiritual life simulation, where the entire aim of the exercise would be to expand your consciousness through challenging situations, impossible tasks, just like in Hero's Journey. If you and I both knew we were going to die, but we weren't actually going to die, we'd have fun with it. We'd be like, hey, how'd you die last time? Right? If there's really no pain and you at least knew that whatever it was going to be temporary, then I would try to choose the most epic way to die. I'd be like, yeah, I died in a ball of flames that time. I would choose the most epic way to go out in style. I'm not going to choose the easy way. I want to see what it'd be like to get burned at the stake. Okay, I'm going to get burned at the stake in this life. I'm going to die falling off a cliff this time. I'm going to be getting chased by the sheriff of Nottingham. I've got all these list of things that I want to experience. And you know that the more challenging experiences you choose, the more strain, the bigger the gain. So you wouldn't choose the easiest of circumstances.
If you knew it was game.
If you knew it was a game, and the moment we die, we're like, man, that was so real, dude. That was crazy. Oh my God, I couldn't believe all that whacked out stuff. And when the government went nuts like that, yeah, totally. It's like, yeah, then it was a revolution. What the F, bro? That was nuts. Yeah. It was so real. The other people there that were along the game with you be like, thanks for playing my game.
Oh, we did so via a memory wipe. We did so that we would forget what we were. Now, why would we do that? Because there would be no point if we didn't. Because remember, if you think of this single-minded identity let's say that that is what you call God, because the whole idea is, are we God? If there's a single mind in reality, that is God. That is what we are. We are God. We are God that is experiencing ourselves in multiplicity. So everything around us is pieces of ourselves. Everything around you is ourselves. That's it. I am you, you are me, and all of this is our the result of our work. Now, the reason why we would engage in memory wipe is because imagine that you're God. All right. So you're omniscient, you're omnipotent, you know everything, you're all powerful. There would be nothing left for you to do. You would have done everything. You would know everything. You would have exhausted all potentiality. So if you just shattered yourself into a multiplicity but didn't forget, there would be no satisfaction from it, because you would know that you would have done it. Like, it would be like playing a video game an infinite number of times. If you played that video game an infinite number of times, you would know every fucking thing about that game, and you would not want to play that game a single time more. But if you wiped your memory of ever playing that game, you'd be like, hey, this is a great game. This game's awesome. Let's beat it. So that is kind of similar to what's going on right now. What's going on right now is that we are a mind that has shattered itself into a multiplicity, and now we are coming back to remember what we are. Now, isn't it a bad thing to remember what we are? Isn't the whole point that we forgot? No, it's not a bad thing to remember what we are. That's part of the joy. That'd be like saying, isn't it a bad thing to beat the game? The whole thing? No, like, that's part of the joy of doing this again. And it's not exactly the same. I'm not saying that it's not like we repeat the same pattern over and over and over again. But I don't want to get into that now. That would take way too much time. But the point is that the reason why we want to understand what we are is because we want to be at that point where we know what we are, okay? But we're still in a world of difference, because that's when we can start really enjoying life. Right now, life has been a struggle of survival just to get avatars that can acquire self-awareness and ultimately higher consciousness. But when we understand what we are and exist in a world of difference, that's when we can start really enjoying life. Because we know intellectually that we're all connected and we're all one. We know that intellectually. We know that. But we are experiencing our difference, and we're experiencing our multiplicity, and we have the joy in that. And so we're no longer killing each other and hating each other for our differences and having all the sexism and racism and homophobia and violence, and it's my nation versus your nation, and my God is better than you. We realize we're all one, we're all connected, we're all in the unified system. But hey, guess what? Also, look at this amazing world that we can do whatever we want. We can build whatever we want. We can learn about each other. We can explore our what makes each other unique. We can have amazing experiences together. So that's what we want. We want to know what we are so we can build what we call a planetary civilization as we go from the mode of survival to planetary civilization. Ultimately, we'll reach planetary independence. We won't even require a physical world to create anymore. But that's a long way off. Right now, we just need to get to planetary civilization where we have enough humans that start to understand what we are so we can build that new world and that new society with the knowledge of what we are. So we're celebrating our difference and we're exercising our power of God. That's why in the Gospel of Thomas, a banned book from the Bible, check out my playlist on that. Jesus says the kingdom of heaven isn't in the sky. It's not under the sea. It's all around you. You just have to have the eyes to see. Meaning that, hey, you're God. We're God. We can make this into whatever we want when we just realize what we are. We have to realize